Welcome back to the Inside Out Shift, where I talk with women who have left corporate 9 to 5 or traditional career paths and are building something that feels more aligned with who they are. I'm Evgenia, a mindset strategist, and I help women entrepreneurs turn their experience, their strengths, and ideas into work they can clearly explain, confidently sell, and get paid for. I also help teams communicate better and work together with less friction. And today, I'm joined by Jetta Vaughn, owner of Jetta V Ent LLC, where culture meets comedy. Jetta brings together human resources, fitness, comedy, and workplace culture to create spaces filled with more positivity, health, and laughter. And we need that, right?
Yeah.
She's also a speaker, community leader, and in 2025, her business was selected for Verizon's Digital Ready Partnership. Can you imagine that? And what I love about Jetta's story is how she took different pieces of her experience and turned them into something that feels fully her own. So today we will talk about living corporate, trusting your voice, and building a business that reflects who you truly, really are. So Jetta, welcome. I'm so glad you're here today with us.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. This is amazing.
Absolutely. And well, I know that you spent quite a time building traditional career, I would say. So when did you first realize that the life you built no longer felt fully right for you?
For me, that was when I got up in the morning and I couldn't figure out what felt good anymore. I will say it's not, like it just didn't feel right for me at the moment.
Mhm.
And so that's just not to say that I'll never go back the corporate route, but for the time being, it was like, I woke up and I wasn't excited to go to work. I wasn't excited about what I was doing. I was more excited about other things that I had going on in the background, which
Mhm.
really related more to my business. And that was helping teams realize that they can do the hard work and do it in a way that was funny, in a way that, we can take those barriers down. And so I was more excited about my comedy piece more
Yeah.
than the day-to-day HR piece. And then I said, you know what, it's time to build something surrounding that I can help people in a way that's palatable, but also in a way that's different.
Yeah. And, thank you for sharing that because this is so important to understand. And this is very important start because so many women, they do not live because everything is horrible and terrible, right? Sometimes life looks good from the outside, but inside start asking for more. It's
Mhm.
like your situation, right? And my next question will be about your business. So when you started building your own business, what part of you had to change the most?
Relying on other people for the work. So
Mhm.
I've been, in corporate, and when you're working for someone else, it is so easy to just be like, okay, well, I go in, I clock in, I know what I'm supposed to do, and a check comes either every 2 weeks or twice a month, whatever that cadence is for you. And so what had to really change is the get up and go that I had
Mhm.
about myself and really putting myself out there. I realized early on that, while you're in an organization, some people might know what you do, but not everyone just kind of inherently knows. Like even the people in my organization were like, oh, I didn't know that you did this. And I didn't know that initiative was started
Mhm.
by you. I didn't know that was your idea. And so really what had to change is putting myself out there more and gaining that visibility. I've always been the person to just sit in the back and just
Mhm.
be like, I don't need to be, I don't need for people to know that I'm doing this thing. And in business, that is not so. If they don't know that you're doing that thing, you will not get a contract, you will not eat, you will not have
Yes,
any
yes.
source of income. And so that's the biggest thing that had to change, is making sure that people knew who I was and what I was about and what I'm doing.
Yeah. And you know that while you were talking about your learnings, I was thinking I can relate to that because, well, I was like you, I was hesitant talking about what I do and what I am like experienced in. And that's a trap, I would say, being shy or being not like trusting yourself. Because to me, also, when you leave corporate, it's not just career change. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a change in how you see yourself, how you talk about yourself. right? How you are making decisions. And another thing is how you define success. And we will be talking about that piece too. But also, I want us to talk about your strengths or skills that you built for years, and probably you saw them, well, I have them, but you never realized that actually this is something which is golden and you still can use them. So can you think about the skill or one strength who are playing that role now?
Yeah. So my biggest strength, and it was something I didn't realize until I had left my corporate job, is
Mhm.
connection. I'm really big on, find myself being a girl's girl. I want to make sure not just women, but men and as well, they have knowledge. I want to connect people to the right opportunities, to the
Mhm.
right
Mhm.
things. And so even with anything that I have going on in my business, if there's a grant out there, if there's an opportunity, if there's, something that we can all be a part of, I am really big on making sure that I connect people with those
Mhm.
opportunities. And of course, they have to do the work on the back end as well. So it's not just me saying, hey, here's the opportunity, but if they want it to come to fruition, they're going to have to do the work with it. And so I think the best way to illustrate this is to give an example. I was in a cohort for the Black Expo, and they have a Black Business Training Institute. And at the end of that, you're eligible for grants for your business. And so the year that I did it, I didn't receive a grant. And so I could have taken that and been like, oh, okay, well, I didn't get a grant. I'm not gonna tell other people about this thing. And so there was a young lady, she was taking one of my yoga classes. I was really big back then. I had taught a lot of fitness classes. I was teaching a yoga class, and the way that it was advertised, it was a really nice day, and I was like, I don't think anybody's going to show up. And so she was the only one that showed up. She showed up about 10 minutes late, and I could tell that she was a little frazzled.
Mhm.
She had something else going on. I said, hey, we don't really have to do yoga. Maybe we can just kind of sit, listen to the music, and talk. And we can do some breathing techniques. It doesn't have to be a lot of movement. It could just be breath work. And so we sat there and talked, and she was telling me that she wanted to start her business back up, and she wasn't sure where to go. And she was telling me all these things about her business, and it sounded great. And so I said, well, have you heard of the Black Business Training Institute with the Black Expo? They have these opportunities, and at the end of it, you're eligible for a grant. And I was very upfront. I said, I didn't get the grant when I went,
Mhm.
but there are opportunities. So maybe that's something that you can explore. And lo and behold, she did the cohort, and Black Expo reached back out to some of the individuals that were in my cohort and
Mhm.
said, "Hey, we actually realized that we didn't." The criteria that we had for the grants were a little
Mhm.
bit different, which caused some people to not be able to, receive the
Mhm.
funding because we weren't very clear on what the guidelines were. And if you're interested, we would like for you all to resubmit. And so I resubmitted, and that cohort, she received a grant, and I also received a grant.
Oh, wow.
So, I like to say that was cosmic karma, some good karma of, sharing and
Mhm.
know what comes out of those opportunities. But what would have happened if I would have listened to her story and just been like, oh, well, I hope that works out for you. Or I
Yeah.
hope, and so I really do believe in the power of connection, and
Mhm.
that whatever you put out into the universe, you're going to get back.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you because another thing is that you can think about power of knowledge
Mhm.
and you can keep it for yourself, but well, you can make it even more powerful by sharing. And you've got like, yeah, you've got the you shared the knowledge and you've got the feedback, like the universe or whatever answered you because you were doing good things for others, and that was kind of a payoff. I don't know how to name it, but well,
Yeah.
I glad that you did that. And you know that another thing, because I love asking this question because we women, we are underestimating what we already know or have or experienced. And what I see in other women, they think that they are starting from zero, which
Yeah.
is not true, right? Because, well, you care, or we are all carrying years of experience and leadership and problem solving. And oh my God, we went through so many different changes, transformations, I don't know, even M&As.
Hmm.
And suddenly we forget about all the things like, oh, I'm a baby coach or oh, I'm a baby entrepreneur, which is not true. But at that's that thinking, I would say, affect your mindset. This is how you are talking about yourself, and we were just talking about, yeah, that's a skill, how you present yourself, how you show up for your business, and that's different.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the skills and knowledge from your past, but now I would like to talk about old habit or something or thinking from corporate that you had to let go of.
Uh, one of the common misconceptions in corporate is that like change is welcomed, and so one thing I had to realize, and one of the habits I had to let go of, is that change is inevitable, and doing things the way that you always did it just because that's the way you always did it does not work. And so that was a habit I had really had to let go of, especially in HR, doing human resources. There's a lot of laws and all that. And so people look at past policies and they're like, oh, well, we had this policy in place forever. And, you kind of get into the cycle of going back to the same things and doing the same things. And so I had to realize that there were times that I needed to pivot. I needed to do something different when it came to my business. And maybe this thing worked, or maybe this worked for this organization. But when I'm trying to target a different organization, I need to think about a different way to approach it. And that it was okay to, pivot is not a bad thing. And going to doing something different is not a bad thing, as long as you're not constantly changing your mission and vision. Your mission and vision needs to stay the same. But if you need to tweak something a little bit, it's okay. And that's really the habit that I had to get out of, is that it doesn't take, months to change a policy. It doesn't take a long, lengthy process.
Yep.
When you are the business owner, when you are the boss, you can say, you know what, I'm going to change this, and I'm going to change it right now.
Yeah. And you are so right, because I also was so hesitant about doing the things. And thanks to my coach, she helped me to understand that, well, actually, we entrepreneurs, we are very flexible, even within our businesses, like inside of that, because this is you who is making decision. This is you who is choosing the path. This is you who is building the strategy or action plan or wherever. And if you see that, okay, this is not working, or okay, I actually don't like that direction, you can change it, and that's okay. Yeah, I totally agree with you. If you have your missions, like you like it, we'll keep it. No matter what, right? Because there are so much noise outside.
Yes.
And we also will talk about that. But well, if you love what you do, if you see that it's in demand, well, keep going. Yeah, because, well, in corporate, we experienced what? We were waiting for permissions. I think that this is a trap number one, right? No one will get that. No one will give you permission. You are the one who is giving that permission to yourself.
Exactly.
And sometimes we tend to over-explain what we do. And, well, we are measuring our successes differently. But now, as a business owner, you have to define all the pieces, all the things. Well, because this is your success of your company, right? And, well, again, this is you who is making decisions. This is you who are taking risks, right? There's nobody behind you talking to you like, well, good job, continue, keep going. No, unfortunately or fortunately, right? And talking about what you do, this is another important thing. And we were touching base on that, like how to become clear and how to find the right words. So my next question will be exactly about that. Was there a moment when you became clearer on what you really do and how to talk about it? I know that this is kind of a practice, but yeah, still.
Yeah, it was a conversation I had with one of my mentors. Her name is Jetta Briggs, and I know you know her very well.
No, yes.
She's with Nabo, and we had a lunch, and I was just starting out with my business. Really wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing or how to sell and all these things. And I said, I need to reach out to someone and get counsel from someone who knows what they're doing, who's been there, done that. And so she asked me, she said, do you know how would you describe your business in 5 to 7 words? Like, she's like, really 5 words, but you can go to 7. And so I was like, back then I didn't know. And so that was my homework to figure out like how do I even describe what I do very little words.
Hmm.
And the reason being is she said that needs to be the hook. And if you can't describe what you do in very little words, then you're never going to get anyone to buy into who you
Hmm.
are, what you're about, and listen to an actual pitch. And so my first slogan for my business when I first started was bringing fun to the workplace. And that's what it was. It was like, oh, it's fun, it's exciting, it's energetic. And then as time went on, and as I changed my offerings and figured out at the core what it is that we do, then I changed it to from 5 words to 3 words,
Oh,
or for 4 words. So from bringing fun to the workplace to where culture meets comedy,
yeah.
and a lot of times I just say culture meets comedy,
Hmm.
and that is a lot more authoritative. And people are just like, huh, well, culture meets comedy. What is that? How does what is that? And so once I got clear on how to get people to be interested in what
Hmm.
I did, then I was able to explain it more because people aren't gonna like feel like, oh, I do this and I do this and I do this. It sounds like there's so much going on. And if you can narrow it down to just here's at the core of the business, this is what we do, then you can go on and explain and you have people in your corner. And so it started with a conversation.
Hmm.
It started with asking for help. And that's something I encourage a lot of entrepreneurs to do is just
Yeah.
ask for help. A lot of time we are out on the island by ourselves. We don't have that think tank. I was at an event where they said, we don't have a water cooler. And so this is kind of like the entrepreneur water cooler where you can
Hmm.
come together and talk about
I love
things,
it.
pain points. And as long as you're honest about that, then
Hmm.
people are willing to help you navigate and figure out how to tell your story. So yeah, that's how it started.
I love this. And this is so powerful because you know that what I am noticing in my clients, they are all experts and they are using that expert vocabulary, so to say. And sometimes they explain that I can understand, you will understand, but potential clients, they cannot recognize themselves in that, right? Because of the words and the clarity and simplicity, I would say. Everything should be simple. And yeah, another thing that is important is how to make them see in what you do, right? And you are brilliant with this, yeah? So just 3 words. And I like that because, well, also another thing that I'm seeing is, well, all of even my clients, they are missing fun, and I cannot imagine how much fun is missed at workplaces, right? Because we're so focused on numbers, on achieving, on accomplishments, on, I don't know, on goals. We are not living the life. It's
Yeah.
like passing by. And also we were talking about noise, and so much, there are so many experts, and because once you become a business owner, suddenly everyone has advice like post this and sell this way and niche down and scale faster and don't do that and be everywhere, and that could be very loud. So what helps you stay grounded and trust yourself?
One is realizing that I'm running my own race. And there's, like you said, there's so much noise. There's so many people out there who are saying, I do this, I do that. And as an entrepreneur, I'm not sure how your inbox is on LinkedIn. There's an equal amount of people who are trying to sell to us. And then there are those people who you're like, okay, well, I'm trying to get the clients as well. So
Mhm.
when I get it, it's just like, okay, let's see how not to sell to people or how not to do those things. But how I stay grounded is one, just recognizing that I'm running my own race and the noise, there's just so much out there. You have to filter through what's real and what's not. What is visibility versus credibility? Because there are a lot of things that are just, you see it all the time and you're like, okay, I see this. And then you get to experience it for yourself and you're like, well, it was just that. It was just a lot of smoke and mirrors and just visibility without credibility. So I stay grounded in knowing that I'm working on something that's tangible, that
Mhm.
is really making a difference in organizations, something that people can speak to. And the fact that I'll work with them again, or I'll see people from the organization and they'll say, well, we are still doing that thing that you talked to us about, or we are what we remembered about X, Y, and Z is this. And that's when I know that I'm making a difference. And so
Mhm.
just looking ahead and not looking beside. I don't know if you remember years ago, it was the Olympics where Michael Phelps was, he was doing this thing, and then there was a guy beside him who just kept looking over, and so he was gaining on him, but then he fell behind. Why? Because he was looking to the side instead of looking ahead. And maybe if he had looked ahead, he would have won, but we never know. We'll never know. So just staying the course, running my own race, understanding that my and what I have going on is unique to me, and then just making sure that I'm not, I'm filtering out what's there to
Mhm.
just be a like, hey, this is something great to look at, but trying to figure out what is really at the core, like what's really going to help teams and organizations get to where they need to be, and understand that I have that secret sauce, that special thing. So
Yeah, and I even, I'm writing this down after you all because this is very important, and I like that. And probably I will even create a post, of course, tagging you because, well, I like this. Own your race. Yeah, you are on your own race, so own it, right? Then work as a filter because, well, we know there are so many even shiny objects.
mhm.
And there are so many experts who will tell you what to do and how to, or just, actually, there is a rare thing finding someone who will tell you or who will teach you how. Everyone is talking and selling what. And I love how you are talking about sharing tangible results. Well, because what you do, what I do, you can think that the results are not like this is fun. How
Mhm.
that can be tangible, or what I do with my clients, I help them combine the words so that others can understand and buy. But well, what's the tangible outcome? Yeah, and having people happy, is this tangible? Of course, you will see that in numbers. So
Mhm.
it's like you not just talking about the fun and processes, but outcomes that can even help them to not be just effective, but bring some probably even more clients because people will be more engaged, or even hitting the goals faster because people will be engaged, right? They will feel the difference before and after, and that's the tangible results, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And you know that we were talking about all that habits and skills that we are bringing into our new world, world of being an entrepreneur. And I'm just wondering if you have ever found yourself slipping back into overworking or trying to prove yourself, and what helped you shift.
Yes, that is something I think entrepreneurs in general, we tend to feel like we have to work around the clock. And I hate to generalize, but I
Mhm.
have not met an entrepreneur yet who's just like, I'm only working, the same amount of time that I worked while I was in office. It kind of feels like we have to always be on. And what really helped me to not slip back into it is becoming a mom. That was very eye opening because babies don't have a timer. Like they're on their time, and they're sleeping when they're sleeping. They want to eat when they want to eat. And there are times when I get home at night and I'm like, okay, well, my son's in daycare with his nanny when he had a nanny. While we have that time, I can do X, Y, and Z. But then there are times when he's home, and if he's fussy or if he's like,
Mhm.
I need you to hold me. Then I'm just like, okay, I've got to concede that tonight I'm not sending any emails,
Mhm.
or I'm not going to schedule any emails because he wants me to hold him or he wants me to be beside him. And so having a child really put that into perspective for me to realize that, you know, you're trying to overwork yourself, and this tiny being is telling you that it's okay not to, and then you just have to really get your schedule together so that whatever you do from here on out
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
can, you have that time and you're compartmentalized and you're making the time for what needs to be done. And so for me, it was really just becoming a mother. I have been one of those that I'm just like, I'll go, 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 go until I can't go anymore. I would deny myself rest breaks or even a nap. And now I'm just like, you know what? I can take that nap. I can relax. I can
Good.
do all the things
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and still be okay and still be fine.
Yeah. And thank you for being so open and vulnerable here because, well, this is how I understand leadership. Leadership is not about leading others, it's about how you lead yourself and your life. It's how you are prioritizing things that are important for you, right? And what you're putting first. Because sometimes, yeah, we are like running or we are rushing, but well, building business, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
Hmm.
And you have to maintain your energy. You need to figure out where and what can give it to you so that you're not burn out, because well, it's even easier to be burnt out when you were building your own business and not like when you were inside corporate world, right? Because you have one
Yes.
and you're wearing multiple hats and it's awkward being in that hats. It's like you're not having one hat but multiple hats and they are in conflict with each other. Sometimes.
Yes, your marketing,
Yeah.
your everything. And then you're like, okay, I gotta be nothing. For one moment, I need to be nothing. So
Yeah. And even sometimes I wish that I have a button like switch off and take some time off, because even when I'm resting, I'm still thinking, like it's constant. And you were right talking, saying that at the beginning, like we have to be on like 24/7. And sometimes we even find ourselves working more than we used to. But also to this point, I want to share that sometimes we are so in love what we do. It's not a hard work. It's just work, and others can see us working hard, but we realize, well, actually I love doing the thing. That's why I'm so productive. That's why I'm so like my every minute is scheduled. But
yeah.
yes, being a mom, it's different. My girls, well, they're old, like enough old so they can feed themselves, and you will get to the point, right? But also they need me. Like for example, last year I slowed down because, well, they needed my support with all the transitions. One were thinking about transferring to another college, another one was looking for job, and the youngest, we were preparing her to switch schools. And all that moments, they're so important, and I was so glad that I was able to be with them to talk through all the decisions. And yeah, that nothing can substitute that, nothing. And now I know that, okay, so I was slow last year, but well, I'm catching up this one. So I am very busy, and probably they see me not that often like last year, but well, this is us being flexible, and this is us prioritizing things, right?
Yeah, and it's so easy to feel like you're behind. And, this is one thing that I've talked to many moms about, new moms that have done this for a long time, because they're like, how are you doing this as an entrepreneur? And like, it was hard for me to go back to work. Like, how are you doing this going back to being an entrepreneur? And it's just like you said, that it's nice to have that flexibility to be like, I can slow down, or I'm not going to pursue, as much contracts or as many contracts as I did. And it's easy to feel like you are missing out on something. But as soon as you get to that realization is, I don't have fear of missing out, or I know that I'm not missing out on anything, it gets a little bit easier. And it's not to say like you still won't have those feelings of, am I missing something, or should I have done X, Y, and Z? But just knowing that you're making that right decision of being there for
Yeah.
them is paramount.
Yeah. 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 And another thing is just, ask yourself what's important now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are getting closer to the end of our discussion. And my next question will be about the advice. So, what advice would you give to a woman who feels ready for something right now, but is not fully sure what to do next?
Reach out to individuals that you trust and that will provide you with good guidance. Also, reach out to people that you don't know. You'll be surprised at how many people will be willing to sit down and have a conversation with you. So just like I had the conversation with my mentor, Jetta, and other mentors that I have relationships with, I've also had conversations with individuals that didn't know me, but they were in the field that I work in. And I just reached out on a whim and like, hey, would you be willing to talk to me? Would you be willing to have a conversation? And some of them I didn't hear from, but some of them I did. And so, just being okay with getting that no, but knowing that there's going to be a yes somewhere down the line. So reaching out to people that you do and don't know, seeking advice and counsel from individuals that you trust, and also just not being afraid to ask for help, because
Oh yeah.
there's no there's no trophy in trying to figure this thing out on your own.
Yeah.
No one built a business by themselves. Like, it's just not a thing. So
And I would say that this is a skill. Yeah, asking for help, because not sometimes we were taught like if you ask for help, that means that you are weak, which is the opposite. When
exactly.
you're asking for help, that means that you are strong and you are curious and you are bold enough to ask the question. And you are right. In my experience, when I was reaching out to people like, would you like to be my mentor? Or do you have capacity for that? The answer was yes. Like so many yeses, just one no, but well, the person explained me why and connected me to another person who was able to do that for me. And
Mm,
that's incredible because, yeah, probably you have an idea, but the picture is not full yet because, well, others, they will bring a different perspective or they can talk about something that was out of your sight. And this is helpful, right? It will help you to shape the idea. It will help you to even shape the niche or audience you would like to work with, or even, get you some clarity, even confidence. Yeah. And I love that. In mentorship, I believe in that. And I'm also a mentor for others. And this is real, like real power. This is a real thing. It's not just, nice conversations over coffee. No. Well, you can be very open with your mentor, and mentor will do that for you. So thank you for sharing that. And I love that this is a real powerful tool. And I wish that every entrepreneur has that, like, I don't know, permission for themselves to ask for someone else being a mentor or even just a supporter. Well, to me that was a life-changing thing actually,
yes.
because you are not alone anymore. Yeah, and you have someone you can ask questions. You have someone you can be very open and share your fears as well, and you will get very honest advice or support. And this is priceless.
Absolutely. I do want to add one other thing is, if someone is saying yes to a conversation, follow up is so important. This is something that I've heard a lot of. Akila Darden, who I consider, so a pseudo mentor as well. She always says there's fortune in the follow up. And so I'll give an example. I had an individual, this was 2024. We met at a business event and they were like, oh, would you mind having a conversation with me? And I was like, yeah. And they said, well, I didn't think you would because we're both kind of in the wellness space. And I was like, oh, I don't mind. Like, here's my email me, let's have a conversation, let's do 30 minutes or an hour, and we'll go from there. And so the individual didn't reach out. Saw them again at another business event, and I was like, hey, are you still wanting to do that conversation? Like, oh, are you really serious? And I was like, yeah, do it before I can't do it anymore. My schedule is so busy where I'm just like, no. And so we had a good conversation, and I talked with them about some different resources, and I was like, hey, are you connected with this organization and that one? And they ended up connecting with a great organization that really helped their business
Oh,
thrive.
great.
And I was like, okay. And so they came back 3 months later and they said, oh, I did the thing that we talked about. And I'm so thankful we had that conversation. And I'm just like, yeah, what does it benefit me to
Mhm.
keep the resources away? I
Yeah.
can't take every contract. I can't be in every room.
Mhm.
And so if I know that there is an organization out there, there's someone else out there that I can say, no, I'm not available, but this person is. And
Mhm.
it's similar, and I want to make sure I document this here, similar to, you and I had a situation where you recommended me for something because you had something else to do. And you're like, hey, I have another commitment, but Jetta's available and I know
Mhm.
her abilities. I know that she can do this thing that I I can't do. And so it's so important. And it's the same with you and I. Like, I had an opportunity to go to an event, and then I was like, hey, do you want to be my plus one? You were there for me, so let me be there for you. And
Mhm.
let's make sure that we're in these rooms together. And it's not about being the only one. It's about making sure that we can all
Yeah.
come together. And so you're doing this for me. I remember that. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make sure I return that
Mhm.
as well. And so that is really what it's all about. And I wish more women would, understand that, not just women, but more entrepreneurs in general, is we can all win when we help each other. It's not a competition. We are each other.
It's not. You know that I was just about to talk about this. Is I don't believe in competition. We are so different. If even we are in the same space,
Exactly.
we are so different. Our tools, experiences, values, beliefs are so different. So that's why I don't believe in competition. Yeah, there is variety of personalities, and you are coming to a person.
Hmm.
You trust person, not product, not process, right? So this is, and this is true, and this is golden. Another thing I want to share about following ups. If you send a message and you are not getting follow up, do not hesitate to send the second, the third, the fourth, whatever, till you are getting the answer, because you never know what is going on in that person's life, right?
Hmm.
Don't think about, well, they don't need to, they don't want to talk to me, or they don't have time. Well, probably this person is dealing with something important, and that person will connect with you but later. And I saw that many times, that even like busiest people, I ca- I was really, in that space, like, okay, I will send 2 messages and then I will stop. Now I'm not. Like, I am sending, but I am very like intentional about what I'm saying. I'm not pushy. I'm wondering, okay, so if you're not available, tell me when we can reconnect. If it's in the fall, that's fine. I will send you a message in like in October or November, right? But well, if you are genuine about that connections, make it happen, right? So do not hesitate if you're not getting immediate answers. Sometimes you will get an answer like in a month, and that's fine. People are busy.
Yes.
And they have families too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like our conversation. And my last question, and I like asking this because your work bring in comedy and culture and personality and energy. If your journey from 9 to 5 to where you are now, if that journey had a theme song, what could it be and why?
Ooh, theme song. Okay. This is good. Um, oh my gosh. I it's like I thought about a song and then I'm like, do I want to switch that song? There is this, my favorite song of all time is Zoom by the Commodores.
Mm.
And it's like, Zoom, I'd like to take you far away from here. And it's a long song, uh, upwards of 6 minutes, a little bit over 6 minutes. And it's just talking about like being in the clouds and not really letting anything stop you. The guy who wrote the song said it was actually about someone passing away of cancer. And
Mm.
so just thinking about like all the things that they weren't going to be able to do, but then realizing like, well, we still have life left. And so that is what my theme song would be, is like, Zoom, I want to take you far away from here. I want to, in my business, I'm making sure that people understand that you don't have to be so cut and dry. You don't have to be so serious all the time. And so let's take this journey. Let's Zoom. Let's fly. Let's
Mhm.
think about things in a different way. And so it would be Zoom by the Commodores. That's my all-time favorite song. And it's definitely fitting for my business.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm not familiar with the song, but I will definitely look up and listen. I like long songs because sometimes you just start enjoying that and it's ended.
Yes.
It seems like this is a perfect thing. 6 minutes. Well, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, this is something. So, Jetta, this was such a rich conversation, and thank you for being here with us today and sharing your story and being honest and the way you've brought together so many parts of you into your work. And what I'm taking from this conversation today is that sometimes the next chapter doesn't arrive in one perfect plan.
Correct.
Sometimes it starts with just noticing what no longer fits your life or your values, and paying attention to what keeps calling you, and giving yourself permission to build in a way that actually reflects who you are. And for everyone listening, if Jetta's stories resonated with you, especially if you are in that season of knowing there is something more, but not fully knowing what it looks like, I hope this conversation gave you a little more permission to listen to yourself. And Jetta, before we close, where can people find you, connect with you, or learn more about your work?
So on my website, jettav.com, so jettav.com. All social media platforms is Jetta V Comedy, so jettav comedy. And yeah, there's a form you can fill out. You can email me, jettav@jettav.com. I'm an open book. You can connect on LinkedIn, Jetta Vaughn. I'm out there. I'm one of those that I will respond as long as you're not trying to sell me something. If you're like, hey, let's have a conversation, I will respond. So yeah, you can reach out to me in any of those ways, in any of those channels.
Yeah, and we will be sharing all the links that Jetta just mentioned in comments and in the description on YouTube. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Inside Out Shift. And if this conversation made you think of someone who is building the next chapter, please share it with her. And if you have a story of living corporate, living 9 to 5, or building a business that feels more aligned with who you are, I would love to hear from you as well. You can reach out to me if you'd like to be considered as a guest for future episodes. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.